Hey YouTube, I wanted to show off Aphelian, which is a really fun sequencer thing. It looks goofy, like it looks super goofy, but it's actually quite a cool way to play around with different sequences and melodies and things that is visually interesting and just fun to play with, really fun. But before we get into this, we're doing an experiment on the YouTube algorithms. So you may recall in the last video I asked you all to dislike the video, and for this one we're going to get a little fancy. I want you to take a look at the likes and dislikes on this, and then try to make the likes and the dislikes equal. So if you see that there's 10 likes and 9 dislikes, give this a dislike. And if you see that it's got 20 dislikes and only 5 likes, something has gone very wrong. So we'll see what that does. I want to test to find out if the algorithm decides that a video that's got lots of ups and downs is controversial, and see if that one gets elevated. So let's just see what happens. Thank you very much for helping me figure this out. Let's get into Aphelian here. So when you first launch it, this is what it does. You get a little orbit that's spinning around, and there's lots of ways to change the orbit and change the pattern. So we can change the note length in this, and you'll see that there's all these notes on the circles, and as the little orb is flying around, it's hitting those notes and it's playing on the ones that we have a little bar thing for. And we can change the tone map here to all kinds of different stuff. So in this one, that's not useful, right? It's just a circle of this orbit, so it's going around, it's only hitting the same note. But we can change that. We're gonna close this, there we go. By going into our orbits thing here, and you see that we've got a large selection of different types of orbits. So over here on the right, you got swirly things, and you can hear how that changed things up. So in the center, it's still hitting that note that it was hitting before, but now it's hitting some other notes as it's going further out. So we got swirly things on the right and various demonic sigils on the left. So this is fun. Like I'm talking to you, I'm just kind of screwing around. This one shape that I've landed on sounds really fun, so I'm going to leave orbit 2 on that for right now. We'll come back to it later. Bring in orbit 1. And for this, let's use one of the demonic symbols. We've got kind of a Luciferian thing here. Everybody loves Lucifer, right? So let's take this shape here, and we'll come to moons in a second here. Okay, so you notice that this top bar thing changes depending on what you're in. So like if I'm in orbit 1, now it's different stuff. If I'm out here at the global view, this brings me into the generator where I can assign things. Like I can say, okay, let's assign an F minor to everything. And you can see which notes are being played on those sequences. So if I turn this on, so this C in the key is not being played. So if we go in to our orbit again, we can take a look at what the tone map it's using is, and we see that there isn't anything set for that. So let's go for a more interesting looking tone map. And let's draw in some of our own notes here instead of just following whatever that pattern was. So this is exactly the sort of thing that really amuses me about this sort of sequencer. Like, that is not a logical way of working with musical notes at all. I'm just like kind of trying to find a pattern that I liked, and then I hit on this like crazy sound when it's going from the G sharp 3 to the G sharp 4. It's got this great funky kind of thing going that's completely unexpected, and it's just kind of doing its thing, and I'm playing around with it. So, all right, we got this here. I'm going to try to... I want orbit 1 to be my lead and orbit 2 to be my bass. So orbit 2 is already kind of sounding bassy. Let's see if we can make this sound a little bit more leady. Set the frequency offset on this higher. Shit, am I on the right one? Yeah, okay. Let's just find another. We'll get into some of the synthesis and stuff later. All right, I like that, but it needs some effects. So if we go back to our global thing here, this is our drums. I'm going to turn that off because that's kind of annoying there. Over here, we've got a mixer for everything, including channel sends. So if we send 1 to A is this reverb, and now we got reverb on this. All right, that sounds pretty good. Let's listen to that now with the bass. Just a little bit of the reverb going to the bass, from the bass rather. All right, let's bring in orbit 3. Wow, that is really a great tone that's got right now. Let's find another. Now, Aleister Crowley isn't technically a demon, but I think we can all agree that he was demonized by the media. So let's use his universal hexagram here. And now I'm just listening to where does it need some filler. And it needed a filler there, and it needs one here. Maybe not there. So I'm just listening, tweaking it like it. This is not where I'm like thinking too hard about like the notes or anything like that. I'm just listening to what's happening and trying to find intervals that sound like they need more or less notes. All right, I got an idea. I'm gonna really load this up, and then I'm gonna show you the scenes tool and screw around with it from there. All right, that's a lot of notes on here. Let's leave that as is. Listen to how this is sounding. We can do things like if we go back here, we can change this scale that it's doing. So, like, also give this some reverb. And let's also throw in a delay. All right, that sounds really good. We can really bring this down and say, like, just only play Cs. And right now it's playing C2, C3, and C4 as it's rolling around. See if we can see that. Shit. All right, I like what we've got so far. Let's bring in 4 now. All right, this is quite boring, so let's liven this up. Oh, I really like the way that that's rolling around. Like it needs work, but I like where that's at right now. All right, once again, I've loaded this up. Trying to decide when I'm going to show you the synthesis part. All right, let me just do that right now then, I guess. So you have all the regular sort of synthesizing things where you can change what your generators are, square and saw. And there's all these mods. Like, there's so many mods in here. But let's kind of take this down so you can hear what I'm doing. Alright, so this is unmodulated. We got an effects in here, or a filter in here that we can affect with the filter envelope, but we need to tell it how much to push that with this peak. All right, I'll leave it here to now show you the really interesting thing here, which is the add controller thing, where we can now assign the moons to this, okay? So we throw a pan on one here. So now Moon A, which I'll show you the moons in a second here, but Moon A is doing this. And then maybe we'll have Moon B playing with the filter. But you see how that's taking it too low. I don't want it to go all the way down like that. So I can say only take it down this far. And if you want to change any of these, you just have to tap on it again. You get that again. I feel like that's a bit too aggressive there. I just want it to kind of, yeah, 50 left, 50 right is it's kind of gently swinging back and forth. Let's hear how this is sounding with everything else. God damn, that sounds so good. And like, I'm just screwing around with stuff here and talking to you. Like, wasn't a lot of thought that went into this, but it sounds fantastic. So in addition to the master buses and sends and all that, there's a built-in effect for every single thing. So in this case, it defaulted that this has got a delay on it. Which sounds good, so I'm going to leave it. But I just wanted to point out that there is an effect here, as well as the send A and send B. Alright, I want to show you now the scenes. So that's what we've got. And now if we hit the plus, it's copied what we had done now to scene B. I'm going to leave scene B as it is. I'm going to go back to scene A now, and I'm going to change things. And the first thing I want to change is calm this down. Like, this is just a lot of notes going all over the place. So let's really calm this down here. Alright, let's move over to B here. That is, I could seriously get stuck being hypnotized by that thing for way too long. Right, so it's gonna be a lot easier to just take out. God damn! I keep hitting one while trying to clear out the other. There we go. And now for orbit 4. All right. So this is what scene A sounds like now. And if you hit this thing right here, it makes sure that you don't automatically jump scenes. It'll wait until the end of the pattern, and then it'll let you jump scenes. So now it's going to jump over to B. So this is our original, like, full, rich sequence. And A is our more calm lead-in. And each of these scenes is saving all kinds of information. Like if you make changes to the synthesis, dramatically increase the resonance of the filter on orbit 4 in scene A. But here in B, the resonance is still at that initial value. So keep that in mind. Like any kind of changes that you're making in the synthesis, you're probably going to want to do before you start making all your scene copies. And once you do have a bunch of scenes, there's this song mode thing here. So you would say, all right, here we'll put in. Actually, A was our lead in, so we'll do A, or we could say do A for 16 beats, and then go into B for 8, and then oh shit. B for 8, and then go back to A, and get it to switch into doing song mode from up here, the top menu, selecting play mode. I am really, really pleased with how this sounds. Thank you very much to all my Patreon patrons for making these videos possible. I'm having a lot of fun with this series, and I'm really grateful that there are so many people that enjoy it. Take it easy, folks.